my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a long-awaited review of Sabrina Carpenter's Cherry Baby, the third fragrance in the Sweet Tooth line. I've actually had this fragrance for like a couple weeks now, but I just have not gotten around to filming a review, so I'm sorry that it took as long as it did to make this video, but alas, here we are. I'm gonna preface this video by saying, honestly, I don't have a ton to say about this fragrance because it just is not that interesting to me. And I'll explain why in a bit. Before we do that, let's go over the notes that are in this fragrance. So in the top, we have cherry cosmo, brown sugar, apple, and plum. In the middle, we have dark chocolate, red poppy, vanilla orchid, and peony. And in the base, we have cashmere wood, amber, musk, patchouli, and resin. I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a spray. To me, Cherry Baby is definitely a fragrance that smells different when sprayed on like a test strip or clothing versus directly on your skin. And I'm gonna say right now that I much prefer it on the test strip. It smells lighter and sweeter, and I feel like you get more of the notes that are actually like listed in the perfume description. Whereas when I wear this perfume on my skin, pretty much the only thing I smell is lost cherry. And so I don't know if you have seen my community post from a while back, but I was basically talking about how I was really hoping that Cherry Baby would not be another dupe of Lost Cherry by Tom Ford. And unfortunately, that is exactly what it is. A very, very close dupe to Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, actually. And unfortunately, that is just such a big disappointment to me because there are so many Lost Cherry dupes on the market. Like, that fragrance was popular like years ago, so I don't understand why, you know, we're doing even more dupes in 2024. It just doesn't really make sense to me. Like, we have the Oaksha one, which is super similar. We have obviously Dossier, we have the Zara one, Love Fest Burning Cherry by Kaoli. Like, there are so many alternatives to Lost Cherry that are also extremely affordable, and I really don't think we needed another one. And so because of that, this fragrance is pretty uninteresting and uninspired to me. What I will say is that I think it smells very nice. I've always liked the DNA of Lost Cherry, this really deep, boozy, dark, juicy, syrupy cherry. One dupe I forgot to mention, and the one that I think smells really similar to Cherry Baby, is the one by Finery. I think it's called Not Another Cherry, but yeah, also super similar to Lost Cherry and very similar to this one as well. On the skin, I would say it's like 95% similar to Lost Cherry and the other dupes, but then on the test strip, I would say it's only like 60, which is a good improvement. Like, I'm smelling it now, and it smells really nice. Like, I'm really getting the apple note that's in this. It smells like a really juicy, candied red apple. And usually I don't like apple notes unless it's like a tart green apple. But I think this one, when mixed with the cherry, it just adds a really light sweetness that helps to lighten up the fragrance and keep it from being too, I guess, dense. I don't smell too much of the dark chocolate, if at all. I know for sure when it's on my skin, I don't smell any dark chocolate whatsoever. On the test strip, maybe a little bit. I would never like smell this and be like, ooh, like that's a chocolate fragrance, because it doesn't smell, there's nothing about this that like is inherently chocolatey, but it's like, since I know that it has like a note of dark chocolate, I'm like, okay, maybe like that could like be in the fragrance, you know what I mean? And I guess with that, let's just get into the rating. So presentation, I mean, it's like the same as the other Sweet Tooth bottles, but they're just in this like really cute chocolate bar. Personally, I just don't really like the color. I don't really like the color red, and like I really like the kind of like pastel vibe that we had going on with the first two. So yeah, this one packaging wise is probably my least favorite, but like whatever. For the $30 that I paid for it, I think the presentation is still really adorable. I really like these bottles. I think they're cute. Obviously not the most like classy or sophisticated, but I've always really liked the presentation of Sweet Tooth. So as for the scent, I am very, very let down. I was hoping that it would be more of a maraschino, like a cherry candy, maybe even like cough syrupy candied cherry smell, but this is not that. You definitely get cherry, but the genre of cherry that this is, it's really dark and rich and boozy. It's sweet, but not overly sweet. But yeah, it smells like some sort of alcoholic drink. It's very deep and rich, and this is like a nice smell. Like, don't get me wrong, I really do like the Lost Cherry DNA. I just think it's outdated, it's overdone. We needed something new, and this was not that. Scent-wise, I'm not impressed with it. As for performance, this is a very, I feel like, standard performing eau de parfum. It's like 4 to 6 hours is pretty much what you can expect with it. I think that this one performs better than the other Sweet Tooth fragrances. It just lasts longer. I think it's like deeper and stronger, projects a little bit more than the other Sweet Tooth fragrances, which makes it also just like last longer. So performance-wise, I mean, it does pretty well. But comparatively, if we take a look at Okja's Sinful, it is nowhere near Okja in terms of projection. That one has a monstrous projection and also lasts all day. This one is like pretty much capped at like 6 hours, but I also can't tell you like super definitively like how long this is gonna last. One, because everyone has a different skin chemistry, and two, because I don't really wear this. In fact, I don't think I've reached for this fragrance like a single time since the day that I got it and was like playing around with it and testing it. This is the kind of fragrance that, I mean, it's nice. I think it smells nice. It's a good smelling fragrance, but like I never reach for it because it's just boring. So now let's do a comparison between Cherry Baby and the other Sweet Tooth perfumes. I feel like they really dropped the ball with this one. With the first two, they felt cohesive, like they belong to the same line. This is a more spicy caramel, like unisex version of the original Sweet Tooth, but they're both clearly like coming from the same line. Like you can tell that this is like Sweet Tooth. But then Cherry Baby smells completely different. Like I don't smell any of the original Sweet Tooth in this one, so I really think that they could have just like started like a new line. Like it doesn't feel like it belongs in the Sweet Tooth line. It's completely different. The other two are a lot more airy, powdery, marshmallowy kind of vibe, whereas this one is like deep, dark, sultry, and dense. The cherry note just completely like transforms it and makes it different than the other two. This to me is not Sweet Tooth. There's nothing about this that smells like Sweet Tooth, and out of the three, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say this is my least favorite one. That's kind of my take on Sweet Tooth Cherry Baby. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Pun not intended. Overall rating for this, I don't know. This is a hard one for me to rate because like I do like the smell, but I don't like what they did with the fragrance. I would give it like maybe like a C+. If you want it for like collector's purposes, which is like primarily the reason that I got it, then go for it. Like it is a very inexpensive fragrance. But if you have literally any other variation of Lost Cherry and you don't want something that's redundant, you can skip this one. Let me know if you've smelled this fragrance and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm so sorry that this took as long as it did for me to make. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you very soon.